First, I'm going to start by palpating the trapezius, which originates on the nuchal line, the ligamentum nuchae, the external occipital protuberance, as well as spinous processes of C7 through C12. The trapezius also inserts onto the lateral 1/3 of the clavicle, acromion, as well as the spine of the scapula. Now, it has many actions. For the upper fibers, they're responsible for extending, laterally flexing, and rotating the head and neck. They're also responsible for elevating and upwardly rotating the scapula. The middle fibers are responsible for adducting and stabilizing the scapula, and then the lower fibers are responsible for depressing and upwardly rotating the scapula. Now, in order to palpate the upper fibers, I'm gonna feel this tissue right here, like at the base of the neck. And I'm gonna have her kind of like shrug her shoulder. So I felt that contract. For the middle fibers, I'm gonna have her like bring her elbow to her head. So I felt that muscle contract right here. And now for the lower fibers, I'm gonna have her bring her arm up in front of her. And I felt that contract as she moved right there. Now I'm going to palpate the rhomboid major and minor. The rhomboid major originates on the spinous processes of T2 through T5, and it inserts onto the medial border right in between the spine of the scapula and the inferior angle. And its actions include adducting, elevating, as well as downwardly rotating the scapula. And the rhomboid minor originates on the spinous processes of C7 and T1, and it inserts onto the upper portion of the medial border of the scapula. It has the same actions as the rhomboid major, which is adducting, elevating, and downwardly rotating the scapula. Okay, in order to palpate these two muscles, I'm going to have her put her hand behind her back. And right in this area, I should feel them contract as she lifts her elbow. Okay, relax. One more time. Okay, relax. So I felt those two contract, and the rhomboid major would be underneath the rhomboid minor, and it will also be bigger. So now I'm going to palpate the levator scapulae, which originates on the transverse processes of C1 and C4. It inserts onto the medial border of the scapula, right in between the superior angle and the spine of the scapula. Its actions involve downwardly rotating as well as elevating the scapula, and it's also responsible for rotating, laterally flexing, and extending the head and neck. Now, in order to palpate that, I'm gonna feel right here, like at the base of the neck, and I'm gonna have her shrug her shoulders. Okay, relax. One more time. Okay, right there, I felt that muscle contract. Lastly, I'm gonna palpate the serratus anterior. Now that originates on the upper 8 or 9 ribs, and it inserts onto the anterior surface of the medial border of the scapula. Its actions include upwardly rotating, abducting, and depressing the scapula. And it may also elevate the thorax during forced inhalation. Now, in order to palpate that, I'm gonna have her lift her arm up and reach for the ceiling. Okay, relax. Do it again. And right here, I felt that muscle contract.